Greetings, my peeps, and welcome to the All Things Basketball Podcast with your boy GD. In this episode, I'll be doing my WNBA free agency segment here. This episode will be all about the WNBA, all the signings, also some big trades as well. So I'm here for it and hope you are as well. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Okay, guys, it's your boy GD back with All Things Basketball with GD Podcasts. In this episode, I want to do a special episode, guys. This one is going to be about the WNBA free agency and the trades and everything that's going on there. So, without any further delay, let's get right into it. I'll go by the order I have here, which isn't really any kind of order, but nonetheless, we'll go through it. Let us start with the Minnesota Lynx. They made a few additions. They added a veteran like Elena Smith, who played last year with the Chicago Sky, signed her to a 2-year deal, and then they got themselves a point guard in free agency by signing Courtney Williams, who also last year was on the Chicago Sky. She's a one-time All-Star, and she played very well for Chicago last year. But he ended up trading also for Natisha Hiedeman, who last year played, ironically enough, point guard for Connecticut. So they traded for her, and Minnesota sent there in return Tiffany Mitchell and also a 2024 first-round pick. Actually, it's a second-round pick. It's pick number 19 to be exact. So you have a few additions there, and you add that to the mix that you already have. Somebody like a Natisha, Kahleah, who had a fantastic year last year. And the young players in Diamond Miller and Ndour-Fall. So Minnesota, looks like Cheryl Reeves is loading up there. Looking good so far for them. And then add to the mix, they also have a first-round pick, the 7th pick in the draft, and what probably can be a pretty deep draft if a few of the ladies declare, because some of them have the COVID year, so they have the option of staying or going to the W's. So that is the Minnesota story. Let's move on to the Atlanta Dream. Tina Charles, who actually didn't play last year. She last played with the Seattle Storm, but she signs as a free agent with the Atlanta Dream. Veteran, she's won an MVP in the league. She's been an 8-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year as well. So Atlanta's getting a valued veteran here. So we'll see what happens with her. She's still looking for that elusive WNBA championship. So she's figuring Atlanta might be her best route. Also, they re-signed Nia Coffey, who played for them last year. And also, they got from the Minnesota Lynx, Ariel Powers, a guard. And they actually got themselves a point guard, guys. Jordin Canada, who was a free agent, but they did a sign and trade to get her. So they acquired Jordin Canada, and in turn, they sent Ari McDonald and 2024 first-round pick, which is the 8th pick in the draft. They send those to the Los Angeles Sparks. So Jordin Canada, a player who I thought might end up in the All-Star game last year. That's how well she played, guys. She's played in the W for 6 years. She's a 2-time champion. So Atlanta getting themselves a savvy point guard to add to players like Ryan Howard, Elisa Gray, Cheyenne Parker. You still got young players over there like Haley Jones. So Tanisha Wright, she's loading up, guys. And then on top of that, she'll also have the 12th pick in this coming draft. So the Atlanta Dream looking strong on paper here, guys. They definitely upgraded, that's for sure. Let us move on to the Seattle Storm. Speaking of the Seattle Storm, when I mentioned Tina Charles. Seattle Storm, I think on paper, they may have done the best of any team in free agency. They were able to sign Skylar Diggins-Smith, reunited with her fellow Irishman, or Irish woman for that matter, Jewel Lloyd, to form a very dynamic backcourt, guys. Skylar Diggins-Smith, she's been in the league 9 years. She's a 6-time All-Star. She's won a Most Improved Player. She's been a 6-time All-NBA, 4 times first team, 2 times second team. So you're getting a fabulous point guard here. And this will be a tremendous help to Jewel Lloyd, I believe. And they didn't stop there, guys. They also added Nneka Ogwumike. Guys, this is huge. Nneka, she was choosing between Seattle, Chicago, I believe, was in the mix, and the New York Liberty. And then it came down to the Liberty and Seattle Storm. And Nneka decided, I'll stay west. So she joins the Seattle Storm. She's a league MVP, guys. She's won 1 championship. She's won a Rookie of the Year, 8-time All-Star, 6-time All-Defense, 6-time All-WNBA. So you're getting a star here, guys. You talk about super teams, guys. Adding Skylar along with Jewel Lloyd and Nneka. Wow. That is a solid lineup there, guys. And then they also sent Kiah Nurse in their 2024 first-round pick, which is actually the 4th pick in this draft. Sent that to the Sparks, and in turn, they got a 2026 first-round pick in return. And actually, they did this deal prior to a Nneka Ogwumike deal. I think if the Sparks knew that this trade could lead to them losing Ogwumike, I'm not sure if they would signed off on it. But that's a story for another day. But Noelle Quinn, she already has in the fold a defensive stalwart and Ezi Magbegor. Also, you got a young player in Jordan Horston, who had a pretty fine rookie season last year. And if you get a healthy Gabby Williams, guys, Seattle is not going to be no pushover this season, guys. Looking very good, the Seattle Storm is. At least on paper, of course. Which leads us to the Las Vegas Aces. What they did really is shore up what they had already and add a key piece as well. They retained Sydney Colson. Also, Kiah Stokes signed to a 2-year deal. And Candace Parker, she decided to return to the Las Vegas Aces. And then also, you added a player like Megan, and she played for the Phoenix Mercury last year. So you add Megan to the mix, a forward who you always need front court help over there to spell Aja Wilson and those ladies over there. Becky Hammond, staying with the hand she has, and then adding a veteran piece. So, hey, who's to say that the Las Vegas Aces can't three-peat? But there's teams that's gotten better, so we'll see what happens there. So, with that said, let us move on to another team out west, the Phoenix Mercury. They were able to add in free agency Natasha Cloud, the longtime Washington Mystic, the point guard over there. She won a championship. She's been 8 years in the W. And you're getting a fiery leader, a floor general, and a person who can play both ways, score and defend. So a big addition for the Mercury. Also, you traded and got a player like Rebecca Allen. She's been in the league 8 years. And she last played last year for the Connecticut Sun. So you traded for her and you sent out in return Moriah Jefferson to the Connecticut Sun. A point guard who seems like they can use point guard help now that you don't have a Natisha Hiedeman. So Moriah Jefferson going back home, so to speak, because she played at UConn. But a very good addition for the Mercury. Rebecca Allen, who can shoot the lights out from 3, and she had a very good year for the Connecticut Sun as well. And then the crown jewel that you added, You got Kahleah Copper from the Chicago Sky, who's a bit of a swing. She can play the shooting guard, she can play the small forward, and she can bring the ball up as well. So you traded for her. You sent out in return Brianna Turner, Michaela Onaware, and 4 draft picks as well going to the Chicago Sky. Kahleah Copper, man, what a get for them guys. And now that you have a Diana Taurasi who's long in the tooth, guys, if I were to surmise, I would say this is probably her last go-round. So to add a Kahleah Copper, somebody who can kind of take over when Taurasi decides to hang him up. So you add her along with Natasha Cloud. I tell you, you got some fiery ladies there and ladies that could defend. That's the important thing. You add that to what you already have in Taurasi. Brittany Griner, I imagine she does re-sign with the Phoenix Mercury. She's a free agent, guys. And Sophie Cunningham, which makes for an interesting dynamic because once upon a time, Kahleah Copper and Sophie Cunningham got into a little entanglement on the court. Let's say that. And then for the Chicago Sky, these are the picks that they ended up getting. They're getting the 3rd pick in this coming draft. They're also getting a 2025 second round pick, 2026 first round pick, 2026 second round pick, which is actually a pick swap. Hey, I was just talking about Seattle, but Phoenix looks pretty good as well with this haul that they got. And they're doing it with a first-year coach, Nate Tibbetts, who comes in with pressure directly on him his first year in the W. Didn't let us move on to Washington. So Washington, they're losing Natasha Cloud. And unfortunately for them guys, Elena Delle Donne has decided to sit out the season. And it comes as a bit of a surprise, guys. She's been in the W 10 years. She's won Rookie of the Year, 2-time MVP, a world champion as well, 7-time All-Star, 5 times All-NBA. Elena Delle Donne, huge loss for them, guys. So will Washington be in a rebuild mode? We'll see. They did add Karlie Samuelson, who last year played for the LA Sparks. So you sign a veteran like that, a veteran forward, and now that you got the Delle Donne news, that makes this signing even that much more important. But you still have in the fold players like Ariel Atkins, Shakira Austin, you get her for a full season since she missed time last year with the elbow. Also, Brittany Sykes, who played fantastic for them last year. So we'll see what happens with the Mystics, whether they'll go into rebuild mode or what. And then, mind you, also they get the 6th pick in this 2024 draft. The Dallas Wings, Awak Kuier, their forward out of Finland. She's going to forego the 2024 season. She was a young, promising player, guys, but she's going to sit out the season for the Dallas Wings. But the Dallas Wings, they do re-sign a bunch of players. Kalani Brown, she re-signs, as well as last year's most improved player, Satou Sabally. Stephanie Soares, who they picked in last year's draft. She was the 4th pick overall, but she sat with the torn ACL. Now with the loss of Awak, it seems getting Soares there will be a definite help. And also they just recently signed Emma Cannon, who last year played for the Indiana Fever, a forward. Definitely somebody you can use also as well. And along with that, for Dallas, you have, of course, Arika Ogwumike and also Tierra McCowan. And you know her and Kalani forms a dynamic duo in the paint. And add to that, they'll have the 5th pick in the 2024 draft and the 9th pick in the 2024 draft. So Latricia Trammell, who did an excellent job coaching them last season. We'll see what happens with them now, but they're loaded as well, guys. They're not going anywhere. So they'll be a threat, that's for sure. Let us move on to the Connecticut Sun, who re-signed a few of their players. DeWanna Bonner, she's staying, guys, as well as Brianna Jones. We'll see how Brianna Jones looks. Remember, she went down with the knee injury. She might not be ready at the start of the season, but maybe about June or so, you probably see her. They also added Satou Ndour-Fall, who last played for the Chicago Sky. So you add someone like that. Rachel Banham, who played for the Minnesota Lynx last year. So you're adding some firepower here, guys. And then, of course, you have the engine, Alyssa Thomas, there. So you add all these pieces with her. And then also remember, too, you got Moriah Jefferson coming in. So Connecticut Sun Stephanie White, who did an amazing job last year. Coach of the year, in fact. So we'll see what she does with this group this year. Then we move to the New York Liberty, who's set to sign both Breanna Stewart and Jonquel Jones. It's just a matter of time before they announce those signings, guys. But it seems like everyone's saying it's a fait accompli, so we'll roll with that. You already have, of course, Sabrina Ionescu, Benaji Laney, who had a great year. Courtney Vandersloot, I believe, is supposed to return. And then you have the 11th pick in this draft coming up. So Sandy Brondello, looks like she'll have her core 5 if all the reports are accurate. So we'll see what happens there. Moving on to the Los Angeles Sparks. Guys, they're in rebuild mode. There's no other way to say it, guys. They did re-sign Lexi Brown as well as Lasia Clarendon. They also got Monique Billings from the Atlanta Dream. But guys, in this draft coming up, they have the 2nd pick, the 4th pick, and the 8th pick. So you're talking about some young talent coming in. You already have a Zaya Cook there, who probably, for all intents and purposes, may end up being the starting point guard over there. So you got some players over there, but I think for Kirk Miller, he's going to have to build this from the ground up, guys, especially when you lose the likes of Nneka Ogwumike. Her sister is still there, Shania Ogwumike, so we'll see what happens with her. But it seems like it's screaming rebuild. Then we move to the Fever. They had a few signings. Katie Lou Samuelson, who played for the Sparks last year, with her sister, of course, Karlie. Damaris Dantes, who played for the Minnesota Lynx. So you added a few veterans there. Of course, you have Aaliyah Boston, Nalissa Smith, Kelsey Mitchell, and they'll have the number 1 pick in this draft. For all intents and purposes, it seems like it'll be Caitlin Clark, and they also have the 15th pick in the draft also. So the Indiana Fever with Christy Sides, a tough group, guys. And looks like they'll be even tougher adding in a Caitlin Clark to the mix. And then the last team I'll talk about, Chicago Sky. Another team that's in rebuild mode right now. They did add Lindsay Allen, who played for the Minnesota Lynx last year. And Diamond DeShields, who sat out last year, who was out for 2023. She actually comes back to the Chicago Sky. She last played with the Dallas Wings, but she's back with the Chicago Sky, a team that she won a WNBA championship with, was a vital part of that. A 5-year veteran, and she made a All-NBA as well. So Teresa Weatherspoon, seems like she's starting from the ground up over there. They'll have the 3rd pick in the draft, as well as the 13th also. So guys, I gave you all the free agency talk. Next, I will talk about the NBA trade deadline, guys. So, a lot of content, guys. A lot of content. So, I'm here for it. I hope you are as well. Once again, I thank you for listening as always. Much appreciated. Next time you hear from me, I'll talk about the NBA trade deadline. All right? Until then, we'll talk soon. Take care. Hello, my peeps. Thank you for listening and supporting the All Things Basketball with GD podcast. You can find us on our website, allthingsbasketballwithgd.com. You can also email us at thatsportsdudegd@gmail.com. Also listen and watch us on YouTube, All Things Basketball GD. Hit the like button when you see our videos. Also write a blurb about our show. You can listen to us on all podcast platforms, including Spotify and Apple. Leave a review for us at Apple. On the website, you can support us by hitting the Buy Me a Coffee button, support on Anchor button, or donate on PayPal. You can also support us by our Cash App, GD That Sports Dude. Once again, I thank you for listening and supporting the show, and do take care.